Step by Step Love is the next C-drama that I have started watching. I've been trying out a lot of more new C-dramas as of late, and Step by Step Love has so much damn stuff going on in this show. I really did not expect it to be as soapy and melodramatic-y as it was. It was just a crazy ride in like a 30 minutes and less episode, so it's one hell of a first impressions. Hi, I'm Monique. I am the host of Off by Purple Heart podcast, where I talk to you about K-dramas, C-dramas, BTS, and whatever else I want to talk about. Step by Step Love, this is my first impressions. As I said in my opening, the show is crazy. Literally the first scene of this show, and I probably will be getting into spoilers in this episode, but the female lead is being chased by a bunch of dudes, bunch of bad men. She ends up into a washroom that just so happens to be where we meet our male lead as well. And I believe that this actor was in Lighter and Princess. So seeing him in this role is very, very, very interesting for me, because I had a lot of negative commentary about his character in Lighter and Princess, but he has a lot of diversity. Anyways, she ends up in a bathroom stall with our male lead, and she is like climbing like Spider-Man up on those walls. The men come crashing in, and the male lead's kind of looking at her like, what the hell's happening? Are you crazy, broad? Anyways, and she's kind of like a spider monkey on the walls of the bathroom, and then the men, they kind of, do the stereotypical like look under the feet of every stall door, and they only come to his washroom stall and just see his feet while, the female lead is clinging on for dear life in this washroom. And then they back away, and that is the literal meet cute of our main leads. The show really starts off with a bang. I really did not research a lot into the tone of the show, but it's giving like super soapy melodrama from the very first ep. But I appreciated how high-paced it was. Literally like after they're in the stall together and they have like this really rapid fire, sparky, like just intense chemistry, like right off the bat. They both can give out the snark really well. There's like another fight scene, and the female lead does like a really great strategy to divert attention away from the male lead, because he ends up in a little bit of trouble. They're all in like this art museum. There are a bunch of other guys come out of nowhere, and they start attacking the male lead, and he has to start busting out like some cool judo moves. And the female lead comes to save the day, and she pretends like she's streaming from her phone, and that's how they're able to get away a second time from being so close to danger. And I honestly was just like in a full whirlwind. At one point in the first episode, the female lead gets drugged accidentally because they end up in this like really snazzy nightclub, and the CEO, which is the male lead character, is there, and there's this very dubious siren of a woman that's trying to hit on him, and it looks like she's trying to collect some intel on him and set him up for something that's going to be dire, and slip something into his drink. And the female lead ends up in the same bar because she has her own little side quest and her own mission that's in this episode as well. And to kind of save him and have him indebted to her, she kind of intercepts him being given this champagne drink that has been obviously drugged, and she chugs it down, and I mean chugs it like a full-on shot. And then all sorts of crazy nonsense ensues, and it's just like nothing but pure madness. I think the show is like dealing with like several subject matter at once. The female lead, she has a really cold, detached family. The matriarch is this grandmother. She's very, very sharp and doesn't seem to have a lot of love for her or her mom. Turns out her dad's in prison. I don't know if he was caught for embezzlement, but it looks like he took the fall for other members of the family. And on the grandmother's side, like there's her uncle that seems very suspicious and just very sneering and domineering. And this grandmother goes to like at one point try to slap the female lead, and the mom jumps in and like saves her from getting slapped. And then all of a sudden the mom's going to like cardiac arrest. We have this like big scene in the hospital, and now the female lead needs a ton of money because the mom has like a huge medical bill now after this medical crisis. There's so much that was in this first episode that I felt like my brain was just like in overdrive. And it's so funny to me because I'm so used to C-dramas having like this really super slow paced, kind of atmospheric vibe. We're dealing with really slow paced. I'm talking like Amidst a Snowstorm of Love on steroids, kind of slow paced. And this show just kind of goes right against that, like just out of the woodwork. It's just like pure madness. And so interesting because last week on my podcast I reviewed Love Me, Love My Voice, and it's like complete 180 from this show. And I was even saying last week, I really want something that's comforting, that's really soothing for the soul. And the vibes of Love Me and Love My Voice was very sweet and very serene, and it also had a lot of food and foodie obsessed content, and it was just so slow paced and soft. And because I'm such a mood watcher, there's going to be weeks, days where I'm like, yeah, this is what I want, and quite literally like 24 hours later it's like, no, I need something that's going to inject like some adrenaline into my veins. Like this show is like the complete polar opposite of that. So me simultaneously trying to watch these two shows, I just think it's very funny. And I'm also reviewing The Long Ballad, which stars my boo Leo Wu as well, which also has its entire own dramatic arc and structure. And it's just like these three C-dramas that I'm in rotation with are just so wildly different. But Step by Step Love was not what I was expecting at all. But I think if you want like some trashy, like soap opera-ish, and I don't mean trashy in a really derogatory way, Step by Step Love is very, very intense. It is very fast paced. There is a lot going on. I was floored, but the chemistries have lead, and I like that they banter, and I like that they're getting into each other's face. The romance is nowhere close as of yet, but I like that there's a lot of action and there's a lot of intrigue. The family dynamics of the female lead in particular is really interesting as well. There is a lot of animosity between them, no love lost, and with her mom in critical condition after, the heart attack from being slapped by the grandmother, and just the stress of, the family fighting and everyone not getting along, the backstory with her father, and then, our male lead being the CEO that can whip out like fight moves and take down like an entire mob gang. It's just a lot going on. And then the female lead getting accidentally drunk in the midst of the show, and her putting the moves on the male lead because she's drugged, doesn't know what the hell she's going on, and him trying to combat her, and her just crawling all over him like a koala bear. And then the morning after, and him having like a CCTV camera in his apartment, so when she accuses him trying to put on some bad behavior towards her, some untoward, debaucherous behavior, he has like the video footage of it, and she's completely humiliated. Like the show just, it's like up and down, like a massive roller coaster. There's just too much going on, and it's just the first episode. But you know what? I was entertained, and then the show just kind of ended. I was like, oh my God, that's it? It's done? It's a wrap? And it was like 28 minutes, I think. And the next episode is also like 28 to 30 minutes. So it is a very fast-paced show. So it is definitely interesting. It is a 2024 C-drama, so it's still relatively new, and it looks like it's a big hit, but I do think it's going to be polarizing in the sense that it's very, very melodramatic. And I can tell from the very first episode, it's going to be super trope heavy. But one thing I like is I like bantering leads that have spitfire chemistry right off the bat, and they both have really strong-willed personalities, and I like that combination. How that's going to play out in the long term, I don't know, because I see that this show has 36 episodes, but I was very, very intrigued. I was just getting like whiplash from this episode. So overall, just a fun time was had. Anyways, that will conclude it for this episode. Stay tuned. There's going to be more episodes coming down the pipeline. I have to post like my thoughts on the long ballad as well, my ongoing journey with that, and reviewing Leo Wu or Wu Lei's back catalog of work, because he's my boo. He's like my favorite C-drama actor right now. And I also want to do an upcoming podcast about Jin. Jin from BTS is now no longer in the military. He was discharged, and there has been a whole slew of drama already because it can never be quiet in Borderland, and I want to do a podcast about that. So look out for that very soon as well. If you're checking me out in the morning, afternoon, or night, I thank you so much. I appreciate you. And if you're on the YouTube side of things, leave me a comment below. Have you watched this show? What are your thoughts about it? Do you have any recommendations for me as far as modern day C-dramas that you think I'd really like? I can tell you right now, I love Mrs. Snowstorm of Love. I really loved Hidden Love, and I'm still on my quest to be finding another Hidden Love like show. And I watched a bunch of others that people claimed were Hidden Love like, and they were fine, but they were never on that level. If you're listening via Spotify or Apple Podcasts, I love you. I appreciate you so much as well. And until the next podcast, see ya. Bye.